Hey everybody, my name is Jamie Dean, and today on Sidescrollin, I'm sitting down with my good friend Justin McNamara, aka Germ69 from Twitch. A very dear friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a long time. An extremely competent Fortnite player and a Fortnite streamer. Justin is a man of many talents, many passions. He's a video gamer, a war gamer, a hobbyist, an artist, a tabletop gamer, a board game collector, a comic enthusiast, a science fiction enthusiast, a podcaster, a YouTuber. God, what else? A movie reviewer. Used to review a movie, still does occasionally. Like a huge movie buff. Has a wealth of knowledge in the film industry. He worked for Games Workshop at one point in his life. He's been a manager in like EB Games and Zing. He was Richard Attenborough's body double in Jurassic Park. A horror, like everything. If you can name it, if it's a pop culture thing, then Justin's got his hands in it somewhere, and he loves it all. And so we get along like an absolute house on fire. You've probably seen him on the channel a couple of times already, but this time I wanted to get him on and talk about his top 10 games of all time. So that's exactly what we did. Check it out. So before we actually get into the top 10, your top 10 games ever, before we get started on that, and I know this is probably going to eat up some time because there's a lot of places that this can be, but for people watching who don't know you perhaps, or are discovering you for the first time, or think that they do recognize you, that this is a familiar name or a familiar face, where might people know you from, Justin? I know there's a lot of places.
I stream on Twitch. I'm Germ1969 on Twitch, and I basically do Fortnite Monday to Friday, and then I'll pick another game. Sometimes it's things that are on Xbox, like the Game Pass games. Sometimes they'll throw a curly one in there that I've never heard of, and actually one of my top 5 is actually one of those games.
No shit! Wow.
Yeah, it was on Game Pass, and I thought I'll give it a go. And next minute I was like, I'm in love with it.
That's the best. That is the best when you stumble into something that you just absolutely fucking love.
And funnily enough, I'm having an experience like it at the moment. I'm playing Dragons of Hinterberg, and it's set now, and some dungeons and dragons and goblins and ghoulies have appeared in Norway or somewhere like that, and you can actually go on holidays, learn magic, and go into a dungeon.
Nice. Yeah, right.
So you're a modern person with a mobile phone and a sword and a shield and magic tricks. So like it's interesting game, little indie thing. It's really cute.
Yeah, cool.
I really like it.
That's a cool idea.
And then on Instagram, I'm Game and Tactics, where I sort of talk about miniatures and stuff like that. And you might also see me on another YouTube channel called Comics, where I occasionally do Drink and Draw or Let's Make a Comic and stuff like that. So I'm an internet prostitute.
Yes, a little bit. And a previous podcaster in
Nerds of Oz podcast.
Horror movie buff and enthusiast on
I've got
fronts.
A website called Digital Retribution where I do horror movie reviews, and there is still floating around on most podcast things there's episodes of Nerds of Oz where we just picked like Marvel movies or DC films and just picked them to shit while we were drinking.
Justin is everywhere. Like if you have people on Instagram that you're following that you think you know, there's a 1 in 3 chance that it's actually one of Justin's accounts. He's just
a stain. I'm a stain on the internet.
You can't get rid of him. He's everywhere. All right.
I'm like a hornet's nest.
Yeah. I'll leave that one alone, but yeah. So top 10 video games of all time. Obviously big video game nut. I've known Justin for a little while now. We're very good buddies. We bonded over video games initially, talking about all sorts of different stuff, and then it's just kind of blossomed from there into Warhammer and board games and all that sort of other bits and pieces.
Crazy crap.
Yep, all that stuff that we love, comics and whatnot. But I don't know, and I've never talked about with you what your favorite games ever are. So this is all fresh information for me on what your top 10 games of all time are.
I think some of these are going to be like, well, yeah, obviously, and other ones are going to be like, huh?
Yeah, nice. So, good. Yeah. That's good. A couple of curveballs.
There's even one on here that I think will be like, I've never heard of that in my life.
Okay.
And it's not one where I'm like, hey, I heard this band before they were cool.
Yep.
This is just like, I'm so fucking old.
Okay, yeah, you'll probably get some from like, I feel old, but I'm not. Well,
Yeah.
you know.
I managed to not put Samantha Fox's strip poker from 1986 on here, so
In the top 10 ever.
yeah, it was the only way that you could see boobs on a computer was to actually download get a strip, no, not even download, to get a strip poker disc from somewhere. There was a really funny game called Stroker. I don't know.
I've never heard of Stroker.
So Stroker was basically a pixelated image of a woman with her hand between her legs, and you had your Atari joystick, so one button.
Oh, so it was on
stick.
Atari. Yeah, okay.
It was on the Commodore 64.
Okay, yep.
And you had to turn the stick as quick as you can, and her hand would move. And there was a meter. And when that meter got up to a particular point, you press the button and you just hear this little digitized, and you did. And that was the whole game.
And that was it. Sold millions.
Yes.
Millions.
I'm sure I had the only copy.
Now, top 10, but you couldn't just limit it to 10 because you're you. So you've got some honorable mentions.
Well, do you know what's funny? What it was is that the number 9 and number 10, I got to that and I had still, because how I did my list was I wrote down all of my favorite games of all time.
Yep.
And then I started to place them. And I got to 9 and 10. I was like, what do I do with these other 5? They don't, like, these, almost to the point the number 10 could be interchangeable with any of the honorable
I find
mentions.
that's the hardest because you kind of know your favorite things, really. It's when you get down to sort of that number 10 mark where things like, oh, I really like all of these.
Yeah.
Yep. That's where it gets tough.
So the special mentions I'll start off with. So a more recent one, which I absolutely fell in love with, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
So, it's a first-person shooter with magic versus ghosts in an abandoned Tokyo.
It's everything you love.
Yeah, and it's very much J horror, sort of early 2000s J horror, and it's great because like you're sort of firing guns like you would Call of Duty, but the hands are doing like magical Doctor Strange shit.
Yep.
And then the bad guys in it are like headless schoolgirls and gigantic Slender Man style ghosts that have umbrellas, and it's actually really quite spooky, but it's also extraordinarily beautiful. And it combines my love of sort of horror and with synthwave a little bit as well. It's got that sort of that crossover.
Yep. And I feel like that one like flew under the radar too. Like there's a bit of hype about it when it was like coming out, when it was announced. It's like, ooh, what's this? But then it's sort of like, it just kind of like launched with a bit of a whisper. Like I didn't remember hearing a whole lot about it once it came out, And it was just, and then it was gone.
Yeah, it wasn't released. It slid out.
That's it. Yep. Just crept out.
Sort of, it dripped out. And it's a shame because like if you like first person shooters and you like a story that's a bit of a mystery, it's amazing. And and it's beautiful as well.
Yeah, it looks good. Like visually looks pretty
an engaging story, believe it or not, an engaging story as well.
Is that your 15?
So this is the
are these in no particular order?
This 5 are like an amorphous.
Yeah, okay, all right. You clearly rate it anyway. So if you haven't checked it out and it sounds like a bit of you, then give it a go.
Next one's Mirror's Edge.
Oh, Mirror's Edge.
I love. You'll hear me say cyberpunk and all of that sort of stuff repeatedly because that's my science fiction. Like I don't mind Star Wars and stuff like that, but my science fiction is the stuff that's like tomorrow.
Yep.
Can I get a chip in my head where I can control my computer? Yes, please. I'll get that.
Yeah.
Like I'll replace anything that doesn't work anymore with metal. I don't have a problem with that sort of shit at all. And so those ones that just take place just tomorrow are always ones that are really exciting for me. So yeah, and Mirror's Edge was like the combination of the parkour movement was just stunning,
which we hadn't seen before, really.
No, not really. No. And the visuals of everything being black and white, except for things you could interact with. Yep. And it was always funny to be standing on the top of a smaller building and see the red destination on the top of a building that was 5 buildings away, and then just all these strips of color and going, so how do I get there?
Yeah.
So it was, even though it was a first person game, it was actually a puzzle game.
Yes.
It was weirdly a puzzler.
Yep.
But because you were engaging with it in a 3D space, it was a bizarre puzzle because you didn't know where you were going to go until you got there. So it was very much that trial and error sort of thing. And it was just a great story, and I love the design of the main character too.
And a striking look, like you said, like really striking look. And it was a game that like again, like it was such an oddball when it released. It was really hard to get a gauge on what is this game like before you played it yourself. Like you could
100%.
watch trailers and whatever, but it's still, it was like, so what is the game though? You know, like it was, and it didn't do, like it's a bit of a cult classic, isn't it? Like it's one that's really, really well loved by a lot of people, but it didn't do, it wasn't like a commercial explosion or anything like that when it came out. And I think that's why, because it was
a sequel.
Yeah, it did get a sequel. Yeah, absolutely. Have you played that one?
Yeah, I'm less loving that one.
Yeah,
the only thing with the sequel is that I really, really liked was the sequel it came with if you bought this collector's edition, it came with a beautiful statue. And it was of the main character and like herself as a younger person on either side of a mirror touching each other's hand.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a beautiful statue, but I didn't strike while the iron was hot, and so I missed out. So I didn't get it.
One day for over $1,000 on eBay somewhere, you'll...
Yeah, like an idiot.
Late night drunk eBay shopping.
So a favorite of us here at Side Scrollin', Super Star Wars. What a game.
Oh, yes.
What a game.
Yeah.
You know, I think the thing that was responsible for me smashing more Super Nintendo controllers was either this or Turtles in Time.
Oh my God. Yep. It
was one of those two.
Yep.
But I kid you not, I learn't that I had the strength to break a controller in half. and like just by going, no!
Super Star Wars taught me a lot about myself.
Yeah. And it's
what a fuck you of a game though, wasn't it? Like honestly,
Hell
like
yeah.
I've never played it, but just watching Scott play through it on the channel, I was like, nah, I'm good, you know, like, and just watching him like like the language in those videos, and that's genuine, like that's real deep-seated rage.
Let me tell you something. The people that got angry over things of like Star Wars Acolyte, they never played Super Star Wars because there is bigger issues with the Star Wars universe and Super Star Wars.
and yet he fucking loves it, and so do you. Like loves it, even though it's like totally unfair, brutally difficult. There's still something there. Like I think it's the look and the sound and the feel, especially, and also I think combined with probably the time that you played it in your life, right?
100%.
That he just loves it. I'm like, why do you love something that makes you so angry? You know,
it's like, it's the Elden Ring thing. Like Elden Ring is the modern version of that game. It's like I can't play Elden Ring. I have beaten the sum total of fuck all and nothing in that game.
Yep.
And I have it on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was dropped as a child.
Like I hate it, but I love it. I hate it, but I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the most toxic relationship I've ever had with an inanimate object in my life. Except for that fleshlight that had the thumbtack. Other than that.
But we moved part. We got on top of that. We sorted that one. We went to therapy. We went to rehab. We sorted that.
And we bought a few more thumbtacks. So the next one is I think I had this on PlayStation 2. It was like a precursor to Call of Duty, and it was called Black.
Oh, Black! I literally just saw that in a secondhand store like a couple of weeks ago. Black on PS2.
First-person shooter.
Yeah.
I revisited recently and can't play it anymore because like the way that you play those sorts of games like Call of Duty and stuff now, it's like you aim here and you fire here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no aim in this. It's just like wherever you've got the point, that's where the bullets go.
Yep.
So I kept throwing grenades.
Yep.
Because this was your grenade button. But it was a really cool story, and I kind of feel that Black Ops and Black Ops 2 stole from it fairly heavily. It starts off with full motion video of a guy being investigated by the government.
Yep.
And it's like, you need to tell us what happened here. And it goes through and tells a story.
Yeah, cool.
And it's an unfair game, but it was a lot of fun. And I spent so the way I've sort of worked my list is how much time have I spent with a game?
Yes.
I don't spend time with things that I don't like. And Black got a lot of my attention for a long time, and I played through it a couple of times, and I really, really enjoyed it. I wish it was a movie. You know,
Yeah, okay.
for some reason in 1999 or 2000, they made a film version of the video game X versus Sever and not of fucking Black. I don't get it.
Oh. So
Seriously,
do you own it? Do you own a copy of it?
I don't.
Oh man, shit.
But
All right,
it's
if
on.
I see it again, I'll keep an eye out now. I
Oh
didn't.
yes, please.
Yeah, all right.
It's on Xbox
I
Live.
literally
so
picked it up and was like, I don't want that.
So good. So good. And speaking of gun control, on my Oculus Quest,
Yes.
I have a game called Pistol Whip.
Okay.
So
I haven't heard of that.
everybody knows Beat Saber, right?
Yeah.
This is Beat Saber with a gun.
Oh, okay.
So you've got to shoot everybody to the beat.
Nice. Okay.
And there's a campaign mode where your spaceships crash and all the rest of it, but there's just modes where you're playing and you get to the point where your muscle memory kicks in and you just know where they're coming from. And so you're just like,
You just know
where they're going to come from. And it's so the way that you beat this game is not through the randomness of the bad guys coming or the respawning or whatever. It's your body learns where they are.
Okay.
And it's great.
Nice.
It's so much fun.
Never heard of that one. Never heard of it.
It's but it's literally Beat Saber meets John Wick.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Because the way that the reason it's called Pistol Whip is that you're shooting people, you reload by just dropping your hand.
Okay.
But to get your life back, you have to get close enough to somebody to hit them in the forehead with the butt of the gun.
Okay.
So you actually have to pistol whip people to get your.
It sounds like, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like that movie that had Christian Bale, I think it was Christian Bale, and Sean Bean doing like the gun martial arts. What was that movie called? They were doing like the fucking gun carters and shit.
It was when the Matrix came out, and
it was very close.
Another Matrix.
Yep, it was very close. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put a picture of it up over here because that's going to drive you nuts. I'll go.
There was a bunch of them because there was like there was also one called the 13th Floor, which was about I think a floor that didn't exist. You actually got digitized to go into that world.
Yep.
And there was a Japanese one I think called The Returner as well, which all sort of came out around that Matrix time and
just to jump on that bandwagon. But yeah, I remember that one. I loved it as a teenager. I'm pretty sure it was a dog shit movie, but as a young teenager, I thought it was cool.
I'll bring back up X versus Sever. Somehow I have memories of X versus Sever as being an amazing movie. Lucy Liu, Antonio Banderas, the guy that played Darth Maul. What could be wrong? How about the script?
How about lots of things?
Okay, and so now we are into the top 10.
So there we go. There we go. They're the honourable mentions.
That's my dishonourable
in no particular order. The ones that just couldn't be left off. All right, number 10. Here we go. Kick us off. Number 10.
Okay. So 1982 or 1983 on the Commodore 64.
Wow. Okay, we're going right back there already.
Yep. There was a puzzle game called Bruce Lee.
I have not heard of this. Okay.
And it was, you had like this little tiny pixelated Bruce Lee, and all he could do was kick or punch. You just did these little tiny things. But basically you had a map and you had to work out how to get across the map. It was a puzzle game that had ninjas and sumos in it. The sumos took 2 kicks. The ninjas took 1 hit.
Maybe I do know this. Yeah, okay.
And, you know, it was very much the...
Yep. I think I do know this. I've never played it, but I think I know of it now that you describe it.
So I kid you not. So I went out with a girl in a high school who had a Commodore 64 and she had a disk drive. I didn't own this game.
Okay.
I stayed with that girl just so I could go to her place and play Bruce Lee. She had nothing else to offer me.
How long did that last?
Well, funnily enough,
years. I married her, Jamie.
About 3 years after school as well. Well and truly lost interest in her. But
no.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a cracker of a game. It was and my understanding was it was licensed by the Lee family and
right.
So
what was like? So it was not just like a very primitive beat 'em up. It was a puzzle game.
It was so you'd have a screen and there'd be like the entry here and the exit down here.
Yep.
And you had to traverse getting to the exit.
A bit like almost like a Donkey Kong like.
Yeah, probably is the closest thing to it.
Okay.
So it'll be like jump this thing and kill that guy and climb up that thing so you can swing to that thing. And the interesting mechanic that was in it was that you had to like occasionally like monkey bar it.
Yep. Okay.
So it was literally like you go all over the place. I mean, it's Bruce Lee; he couldn't fly, but
Yep.
so they gave him this monkey bar thing that was really cool.
Yep.
It was a cracker of a game. I played so much of that. Between that and Stroker, I played so much.
That's your Commodore 64 library.
Yeah. Well, it's full. See, I didn't have a disk drive for my 64. I had a tape drive.
Yep.
And so realistically, the only thing I played on it was The Hobbit, which was the text.
The text-based adventure.
Yeah, like the old Commodore 64 had a plug-in at the back where you could put cartridges in as well.
Yep.
So I played a couple of early cartridge games, but like the stuff for the tape drive was all I had was The Hobbit and occasionally some free stuff that came off the front of C64 magazine and stuff like that.
Oh, yep, back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it was. I played that game to death. I loved it. I don't even.
And occasionally also acknowledge my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, are you still here? It's my house. Oh, I should go.
That's hilarious. Bruce, what's it called? Bruce Lee. It's just called Bruce Lee.
It's called Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee on the Commodore 64. I've never played it, but when you describe it, I can see it. So I must have watched something about it. I must have seen it on a documentary or something like that, because as soon as you started describing it, I was like, hang on a second. I know this game, even though I never had a Commodore 64, never played one, never played this game, but I can remember footage of it.
When you see the cover, you'll go, yep, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. I didn't when you started, but I cottoned on eventually. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Bruce Lee, number 10.
Bruce Lee, number 10. So number 9. Number 9's a massive cheat.
Okay, it's a series.
Because I'm picking a range of games.
Oh, here we go. This is a Scott tactic. All the fighting games or something.
Well,
Go on. What is it?
First-person shooter.
Yeah. First-person shooters is my number 9.
No. SingStar.
Oh, that's okay. I think that's okay.
So
I think you get away with that one.
SingStar is one of those ones where my family connected over that game so much.
Yep.
My daughter's never been a big gamer. My wife, even though she had a Sega Mega Drive when we first met, wasn't and still isn't a real gamer. She's played a little bit of Power Wash.
Oh yeah, Power Wash Simulator.
SingStar, that connected us as a family, and we played that just constantly. And we had every single PlayStation 2 SingStar except for ABBA or Take That.
Wow. Okay.
We had every single one of them. Like my PlayStation 2 library was basically SingStar, Buzz, Buzz. The trivia game. And I might have had one game that was mine, but all the rest of it was that. We literally just, the PlayStation 2 was just, that could have been called Karaoke 2 and we would have been fine with it.
Yep. Nice. And do you still own a copy of SingStar? Any of them?
None of them.
No, they're all gone? Oh, man. Yeah. I know for sure where I can get a copy of that. I know absolutely. So, in fact, I think I just told my secondhand store to throw them away because they'd never sell. So, I might try and grab one. Did you start with the very first one? Is that where you came into it? Very
first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you decide to try that? Like as you said, it was a family sort of bringing together kind of experience. You've got like, your family don't sound like, like they share your passion for video games necessarily. What made you decide to go, I'm going to try this and see how it goes?
It was my daughter. She was like, when she was little, she wanted to be like most little girls, she wanted to be an actress and she wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be the next Britney Spears. And like, she's almost 30 now, but like, I hope she doesn't watch this, because if she hears me refer to her
as almost 30, no, she's never going to watch this. You're safe.
But she wanted it, and still to this day she has she is musical as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day she has whatever the Nintendo Just Sing.
Oh, I think there's a couple of them now, but yes, that's one of them.
She still has that on her Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, she's one of those adults who Minecraft, Animal Crossing, and then Just Dance and the singing one are basically the only games that she's got.
Yeah,
like she'd never play Super Smash Brothers or Bayonetta or anything like that.
No. Yep.
And like the Animal Crossing and the Minecraft thing are like basically because they're a lo-fi sort of. I just feel like chilling out for a half an hour, so I'm going to build a house sort of shit. So
yep.
But yeah, that was bought for her. And then next minute we were like, yeah, get away, kid. I just got Sing Star Rocks. You go and sit down. Daddy wants to sing some Gwen Stefani.
That's it. Daddy's going to teach you a thing or two. Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
cool, dude. That is really cool.
That was my number 9.
Nice. Nice.
This is. I feel like my list is going to have like old man stories to go along with it.
I think that's why I said this to Ryan last time we did this. Is that like it's very rare, I think personally, that people are going to have games that are their top 10 games of all time that are in their top 10 because it's a good game. Like, there's got to be something more to it. There's got to be some memory attached to it, some experience attached to it that has elevated for you in some way to make it your favorite ever. Especially for people, you know, like you and I, who have played literally hundreds of video games at this point in our lives. There's our top 10 have to be more than just a game, you know, like that's a game it's a game and I liked it, you know. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll find someone who can prove me wrong on that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, Katy Perry made a Kiss a Girl and she liked it, but we've got like in deep. This is part of our DNA.
That's it.
We didn't just play a game and we liked it. We like in Videodrome style. We inserted it into our systems and it just became
absorbed it like Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Yep.
So and on that, my number 8 is a game called Battlefield 3.
Oh, here we go. Nice.
So I didn't own a PlayStation 3,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't own an Xbox 360 until later in its lifespan.
Yep.
And what it came from was that a
great
guy
system, by the way, Xbox 360.
100%. Well, I'm actually at the moment
system. It's still good. Yeah.
Building the Lego one.
Yes. No. Oh, it lights up. Oh, I didn't know that.
So I've only done the controller and the Halo box so far.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, so my mum had a guy who worked in her warehouse, and he was ex-army, and I can't remember. I think it was Afghanistan that he was deployed into, and lost a few mates there.
Yep.
And he came back a little bit damaged. Like, he spent like 6 months in Germany. Basically, an IED hit a truck that he was in, threw him out of it, and the other people in the truck didn't survive.
Yeah, right.
You know, all of the guilt that comes with that sort of shit. And all the rest of it.
Fucking
and
hell.
For some reason, when he came home, he just wanted to play Battlefield 3.
Right.
So he convinced.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He convinced me to play with him, and I think that the teams in Battlefield were like squads of 4. I think.
In Battlefield? No.
Yeah.
Gosh, in Battlefield it was like.
No. I mean, like within your 20 or 50 men sides, you had little mini squads of 4.
Oh, right. I don't. Oh God, I don't remember. That's going back a ways.
Because there'd be like a blue.
Defer to your expertise. Yes.
I think there was like blue squad and red squad. And whatever.
Right.
Anyway, the 4 of us would play together, and we played it like a military maneuver.
Yeah. Right.
You know, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to go up on the hill with a sniper rifle. You guys go and infiltrate this building, and it would be like, there's a guy around to your left, Justin, and then you hear bang. It's okay, I got him. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
It was like it was all done.
There
was no levity.
Yep.
We had zero fun. It was a job.
It was work.
We were defending the digital world against the incursion.
Yeah.
So, but Matt and I really connected over this, and Matt was a Warhammer guy as well, even though we played Tyranids.
Okay. Even though we played Tyranids.
Yeah.
You won't hold that against him.
Yeah, exactly. A Chaos Dwarf guy. What can I say? At least he's got an army that's still relevant.
That's true. That's true. Got you there.
But they're coming back. But yeah, essentially, we connected over that. We played that game for ages and ages and ages, and just simply loved it. And I was totally into it. I've got like the Art of Battlefield 3 and the Art of Battlefield 4. I've got there was novels of Battlefield 3.
No shit.
Yeah, that told the further story of the characters in it. Yep. Yeah, and it was amazing. Sorry, it was we just had so much fun, and we really connected over that. And it was my first experience with playing games online like that. And and
that was a big, especially at that scale. That's what early Battlefield, I remember.
Yeah,
you just really hadn't been exposed to scale like that. Tribes did it a little bit, but Tribes, I love Tribes. I absolutely adored Tribes. One of my favorite games of the era. but it was kind of like a you're basically playing Unreal Tournament on a bigger map. Like it was just
Yeah.
chaos, really. Like Battlefield kind of gave it some organization and structure, but kept the scale of it. You know,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember playing Battlefield 1942 for the first time and just being like, "Holy shit, what is this?" You know, like
What is this?
this is unreal.
Yeah.
But three, I never played three. Didn't play three. Played 1942. Played Battlefield 2 a little bit. Played the shit out of the Desert Combat mod for Battlefield 1942, but never played Battlefield 3.
I think the unfortunate thing with Battlefield was that the trollers, the troll players would get a plane, they'd fly into somewhere. I think Matt, who was our sniper, he would be killed more by people that would just drop a plane on him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and they just spam that plane. They just spam that.
If you get into any kind of flying vehicle in a Battlefield game, especially those early ones, you were more of a liability than you were a help every single
100%.
time, guaranteed. Especially helicopters. Holy shit!
I could never fly them.
No one can.
Vehicles, but helicopters, I was like, I'm pressing things and it's doing the opposite of what my brain tells me it should be doing. But yeah, so that was
helicopters.
Yeah, but that was it. Battlefield 3. I've got a lot of fond memories of spending time with my new friend, and that actually reinvigorated my love of gaming. I didn't, like I said, I didn't have a PlayStation 3. I didn't have a 360 up to that point.
Yep.
I had a Wii, but it was more for Kirby than for me. Never had a Wii U. So there was that period of gaming. You know, my wife and I were sort of only just married, and so we were sort of flicking from house to house. So like having less stuff was a better idea.
Yep.
Unlike now.
Yeah, right. Now we're settled.
So yeah, Battlefield 3, definitely.
That's a good one.
So my next one, what's that? That's 8. So 7, in a similar vein, Titanfall 2.
Wow, nice. Now, Titanfall 2 is a game I have sitting in my Steam library that I picked up on sale 12 months ago. And I really, really want to play it because I hear it's got like just a banging campaign, like a really good campaign.
Jamie,
do it.
Stop what we're doing right now.
And go and
turn
do it.
everything off and go and play Titanfall.
I need to do
I'll
it.
wait here until you come back. And I'll sit here and wait here for the 20 hours that it takes you to play it.
I've got to do it. I've got to get on it. Tell me about it. Sell it to me.
So the biggest waste in the world, as far as I'm concerned, is the birth of Apex. Like Apex takes place in the same world as Titanfall, and they're doing that instead of another Titanfall game. It is futuristic Call of Duty that once you gain enough sort of in-game XP, for want of a better term, you can go, hello, spaceship, can you drop my Titan in so I can climb into a gigantic fucking robot and kill things? It is Gundam. It is everything that you want. And the thing is too, is that mechanics of being a guy on the ground is exactly the same as being a guy in a walking robot.
Yeah, cool.
So
you just there's no control translation that you have to go through to like, oh fuck, what's my shoot? How do I move that? Like you just keep going, but you're bigger and more hardcore.
And it's things like, instead of jump, it's now hover.
Yeah.
Instead of throw a grenade, you're now firing a grenade out of a grenade launcher on your backpack. The variety of weapons that you can get. There's 3 different style of mechs. There's like a fast one that has less armor. There's a heavy one that has more armor, and then there's like that middle of the road one. You know, the standard video game thing.
Yep.
And what they've done is, and it's something that games like Fortnite have done, is that there was NPCs in there as well. So like you were the hero. So basically you play as what's called a pilot, and pilots imprint on their machine.
Okay.
So when you imprint on your machine, that's your machine, and it takes an effort to become a pilot. You don't just like get out of flight school and go, well, I'm a pilot, here's my plane. It's something that you have to evolve to. So there's regular soldiers on the ground, and then the pilots are the heroes.
Yep. Okay, I see.
So you still get points for killing the standard guys who are just like, just the thing, yes sir, and they run over here and start firing randomly. Like anybody that's killed by an NPC of that game should just give up playing video games. And go back to crochet or whatever the fuck it is that they do in their spare time, because video games is not for them. They are literally there as fodder. But and like when you can get in and out of your Titan, you're not stuck in it. You can set your Titan when you're out of your Titan acts as a second you and supports you.
Yeah,
You can
nice.
ride your Titan.
Yep.
And it's there's still a bit of Titan riding in my house, but it's not the same thing.
If you know what I mean, huh?
So yeah, but the campaign. So if I remember correctly, there was no campaign in the first one; it was just online. And then they created.
I don't remember. I didn't have enough to do with the first one, other than hearing that like it was this cool, new, different thing that didn't really get the love it deserved by the sound, and neither did number 2. I don't think got the love that it deserved.
The thing is, it did get the love, but they changed it into Apex.
Yeah, right.
Like one of those things.
They went in a different direction to capitalize on what was hot and popular at the time.
Yeah, well,
right?
yeah, it's sort of Call of Duty and online gaming and all the rest of it was like, oh, we can do this.
Fortnite's making $1 billion. Like, yeah.
And the thing is too is that like Apex doesn't even reference it. You don't even see like an abandoned Titan or whatever. Like there's nothing of that in there. Yeah. It's just like here's a whole pile of new characters. There's not even like a pilot character that you can pick.
Right.
Which is really frustrating. But like when I bought Titanfall 2, I went hard. I bought the big version, and I have the pilot helmet.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And when you press the button on the side, the Titan talks to you. You can't hear it outside of the helmet. It whispers in your ear because the speaker's right there. So it's like ready when you are, pilot. But yeah, it's stunningly amazing toy. Back when you bought a special edition of something, it was $200 and you got a cool thing rather than just like, oh, here's a gold pair of underpants and a mohawk.
Here's an enamel pin. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mind you, I have got a pile of those sitting around here as well.
But my buddy Alan, who we played Space Marine 2 with just last night, he's a huge fan of Titanfall 2. He's the reason I actually ended up jumping in and buying it, because he was like, this game's fucking so cool. But I watched him play multiplayer, and it looks like so hectic and full on and fast and frantic, because you got all that like parkour movement going on. You got fucking robots jumping in everywhere. Like it just looked like, for my old man brain and my old man reflexes, way beyond my capabilities. But I mean, I still want to try the campaign, because I hear the campaign is fantastic.
Great story.
Yeah,
amazing story. The thing that's so funny about it is that it I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, it's another one of those games where it feels like it's just tomorrow. It's not so far in the future. Right. That's why I like it.
Yep. It's an achievable sort of thing. Like you can, it's got some believability. Yeah.
And the other thing is too is that this is a game that made Call of Duty shit its pants.
Yeah.
Like the juggernaut that is Call of Duty. They came out with Advanced Warfare. They came out with Infinite Warfare. Yep. They started adding science fiction elements instead of that, like, this is what weapons are going to be like tomorrow. It's like, this is 100 years in the future.
Yeah.
So they really shit themselves. And it took them a while for them to sort of go, you know what, we don't need to compete with that. Let's just wind it back. And they happened to wind it back just as Apex came out too. So it was like, I don't know what all of the into politics of it was, but it felt like that they were like, okay, yeah, this thing's not going to last. We'll just wind it back. Don't worry about it.
Now, didn't who developed Titanfall? Do you remember?
Respawn
developed it. Okay, right. And so that's and Apex, and they haven't gone and done anything else other than those, like, in recent times. Have they done anything else?
Well,
I couldn't remember if they got involved in the Call of Duty franchise at some point.
They were Call of Duty at one point, and then left doing Call of Duty to
do this.
They might have been a part of Sledgehammer or something, and then left and formed Respawn.
Okay, I see. That's where the link is.
For some reason, I seem to think that they might have had something to do with Star Wars Outlaws, or maybe Battlefield 2 or something.
Right. Oh God, I don't remember. Don't know.
I can't remember.
But that would be the link. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I knew there was some crossover. I get lost in all, like, who the fucking Call of Duty developers, like, they seem to just like. There's like a little pool of them that they seem to have gone through over time, and then they go back and then they try someone else. And
it's like a 3-year lifespan of Call of Duty. It takes 3 years to develop a game. And so each company has it's like Sledgehammer.
But until recently, they've wanted them on yearly releases. So they've had to like delve into multiple developers to keep this release going.
So each developer's on a 3-year plan. If developer 1 has a game coming out next year, the following year it'll be developer 2
Yep.
and developer 3, and developer 1 will start their planning for after 3.
Yep.
I don't know if that's changed though, because like Modern Warfare.
Well, they've finally gone off the 1 year, but like a yearly release schedule, which I think can only be good.
Well, no, they said that and they haven't yet.
Oh, haven't they?
No, because they, the biggest crime that Call of Duty ever committed is that Modern Warfare 2 came out however many years, like 2 years ago, and Modern Warfare 3 just feels like DLC.
Oh, yes, right, yes.
Modern Warfare 3.
Modern Warfare 3 was a proper.
Yeah, I happened to get a couple of free copies of that.
Yep.
I'm so glad I didn't pay for that.
Yeah,
if I'd have paid for that, I would have been so angry.
Yep.
I would have been so angry if I had to pay proper cash money for that.
An opinion echoed by many, as far as I've heard.
Yeah.
But anyway, Titanfall 2, banger. I've got to try it. Yeah, I've really got to try it. I just want to give that campaign a shot, because it made when it came out, it was like, holy shit, what is this? Like, especially in the movement, like the movement mechanics of Titanfall 2 was just almost harkening back to sort of like a Mirror's Edge style thing, right? But not really anything that had been seen in a first-person shooter space.
The parkour was amazing. The running towards a wall. The only other games that I think the only game I'd seen before that had that sort of parkour was, I think, Tron, the Tron Legacy game.
Yep.
Because that had some pretty cool parkoury sort of stuff in it. But it wasn't a shooting game. It was more a traversing environment sort of a game.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Speaking of Call of Duty. Number 6.
Slick segue.
I'm going to SingStar this and just refer to this as the Call of Duty franchise.
Come on now.
But hang on.
You got away with it in SingStar.
No, hang on. So there's a reason for this.
Okay.
Is because there is 4 Call of Duties that all have specific things that I like about them that don't relate to each other. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of Warzone.
Yes. Okay.
I loved Blackout.
Okay.
So Blackout was the precursor to Warzone.
Yep.
Me and my mates played Blackout constantly, and Warzone I've probably spent maybe, and I mean that I've spent like days in Blackout, and in Warzone I've been lucky to play 5 hours, 6 hours of it.
Yeah. Okay.
In the 4 years that it's been out.
Yep.
But Blackout as that online battle royale game, that was my battle royale COD. If I'm going to go for the campaign, Call of Duty Ghosts, the one that people seem to hate.
That's not a well-liked one. You like it.
I love the campaign for that. I really did.
Okay.
For some reason, that campaign really spoke to me. And I think it was because, too, like, it told a family story as well. That starts off with a satellite crashing and earthquakes in LA. And you don't even have a gun at first. You're just trying to get home.
Right.
You're just trying to get home across the landscape falling apart in LA. I think it's LA. So that story just captured me for some reason. I really, really liked the actual campaign for that. With zombies, Cold War Zombies was my jam.
Okay.
So when I started streaming, I only streamed Cold War Zombies, and I streamed Cold War Zombies for 2 years solid, and nothing else.
Yep.
Just that.
Yep.
I thought that the gun, the movement, the story, everything about that, particularly solo Outbreak, I really liked playing that game by myself, because like one person stuck in an environment with all of these monsters is such a great horror movie trope.
Yep.
That it's hard to not love that. And here's the interesting thing. So my favorite online multiplayer game of COD is actually Black Ops 4.
Okay.
Why Black Ops 4? Because it's almost the fucking same as Titanfall.
Yeah, right. Yep. Okay.
The only other thing I would say about Call, so they're like the reason if you could squeeze all of those together,
if you could just put all those parts into one game, you'd have your perfect Call of Duty.
And the only other thing is that I really like the character choices and stuff like that. But the one thing that really soured me on COD is that there's an Instagrammer and YouTuber named Alex Zedra. Alex Zedra's a Call of Duty streamer, and she also streams like people doing dumb things like real life guns and stuff like that, and dumb things with it, and sort of shows her gun collection. She's sponsored by G Fuel and all the rest of it.
Right.
They had a skin of her and took it off me.
Oh no.
She only had like a 2 or 3 year contract, and it was
Okay.
just taken off you.
And they
So
just got
like,
rid of it.
yeah, so I had this amazing Alexandra skin, and then when Modern Warfare sort of finished, and I guess the servers closed or whatever, it was just taken away. It just wasn't there anymore,
Oh,
and
modern gaming. You gotta
that
love it.
pissed me off so much.
Yeah. Did you
Like,
buy
you
it?
know,
I'm
like,
assuming this is something you purchased.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't something that I achieved. I
No.
paid for
Of
it.
course you didn't. They don't give shit like that away in games anymore. You would have had to
No.
buy it. Yep.
And it's like it's bad enough when they have like Tim the Tap Man and stuff like that, and they do them, and that whoever it is, I can't remember the name of the streamer, but he did something stupid or said something dumb,
And then it's
or
gone.
and then they took it away, but they gave everybody a refund.
Right.
I got fuck all for having Alexandra taken away from me. So I'm still a little bit dark on all of Call of Duty for
Never
that.
forget. Yep.
Yeah,
Never
exactly.
Forget. Right, here we go. Oh,
Top
sorry.
5.
Hey,
Top
top five.
five.
Well, before you get there, I'm going to put you on the spot, right? If you've got the whole Call of Duty franchise, right? If I said to you, Justin, you have to choose one to put on your shelf and keep forever as like your memento for Call of Duty, which one would it be?
Okay, so here's the
You
question.
can only keep one.
Is the multiplayer online forever?
Sure.
Okay. Cold War.
Cold War. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one that you would take and keep on the shelf forever.
Yeah, I think that the 80s setting for the campaign was fun, and it was very much like a James Bond sort of a story.
Yep.
I felt it was a little bit short, but that's just me. The multiplayer environments I thought were pretty good. But they were like Call of Duty standard 3 lane sort of shit. Like, I'm not impressed with Modern Warfare 3 at all, because they're instead of being the innovators that they used to be, they're now emulating other stuff.
Yeah, right.
And they even have like some of the new skins and environments are just animated versions of old ones. So they've just devalued the color and given it hard edges so it looks like a comic. And it's like, sorry, am I playing a game called Modern Warfare?
Yeah.
Like, they're so desperate to compete with, instead of being innovators, they're just trying to play catch up now. And
and by the time they get there,
the others have moved on.
It's too late. It's gone.
Yeah.
And we already have that, right? That's the thing about
100%.
trying to emulate something that's popular, is that the popular thing already exists. We've already got that thing.
The thing I hate about it is that they use it as a boast. Like, they say,
right.
oh, there's 36 environments, and it's actually 26, but 10 of them are the animated versions of popular ones.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, like, Shipment comes in its normal version, and then
also,
a snow-covered version, and then a Christmas version, and then an animated version. Like, fuck that shit. That's still one.
That's still one map. Yep. You
know,
absolutely.
As much as my SingStar choice would suggest that I don't necessarily agree with
but
that.
Cold War definitively would be your choice, as like that's your favorite if you had to keep one.
Yeah. I spent so much time playing just the zombie thing, and it felt heavy. It felt proper. The sounds that the guns make when they pop is really good.
Yeah.
So there was a lot in Cold War. For me, there was a lot to like.
Yeah. Nice. That's. I mean, I haven't played a Call of Duty since the first one, since the original, all the way back in 2001. I can't remember when that one came out on PC. PC exclusive. So I haven't played it. I'm going to be playing one very soon on the channel for like the first one since then. But Cold War was, I kind of like, I'm not a Call of Duty guy clearly because I haven't played them, but I sort of, they're always in the periphery. I don't think you can be into video games and not have some sort of periphery awareness of what is happening in Call of Duty at the moment. Cold War is always one that has like stood out a little bit as like, oh, that looks interesting. That's like just for the historical interactions in the campaign.
Oh, it references Reagan and all sorts of stuff. And like I think the one that's coming out this year, which I think is Black Ops 6.
Black Ops 6, yep.
It takes place in the 90s, so I think even Bill Clinton is in there.
Yep.
And the collector's edition even comes with a stained dress. It's fantastic.
Someone write that down. Someone's watching right now. Write that down. Top 5, Justin.
Top 5. Here we go. So number 5 is Far Cry 5.
Oh, Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I love Far Cry 3.
Yep.
I played Far Cry 4 for about 10 minutes and was like, yep. It was for me, it was like, yep, that was lightning in a bottle. Good work, fellas. I don't need to return to it.
Yep.
And then I started seeing the Far Cry 5 stuff. And I was actually invited for a place that I used to work. I was invited to a Far Cry 5 night where we all had to dress up as like hillbillies, and we
Yeah,
were all
right.
given. I was sort of enamored by that, and what I saw of it, and played a little bit of it. And then I started seeing the trailers, and it was things like being able to have a dog, and
Yes.
like being able to send the dog to attack a guard while you attacked another guard, and things like that. Like
Yep.
I really and being able to hire the townsfolk. But then it being this sort of amazing sort of 1970s horror story of a cult going crazy,
Yeah.
and really manipulating like the government was just amazing. The characters were spectacular. There was some amazing story beats in it. Like one of the big bads in it was so there was like the main guy, and then I think he had two brothers and a sister, and they were like the big bad guys that you had to fight. And when you played the sister level, the sister was the one responsible for the drugs that were being shipped all throughout the land. And you find out through the course of the fight with her that she's not actually his sister. She's one of many young women who he manipulated into being a family member.
Yeah,
And
okay.
just it wasn't his actual sister. It was just like a cult thing where
Yep.
he referred to the person who ran the drug business as his sister.
Yep.
And there was just some stunning and like, you want to talk about downbeat endings? Holy shit! That game finished, and I sat there and I went, what do I do now?
What do I do with my life? Yeah.
Yeah. And even down to was it Far Cry New Dawn came out after that?
Okay.
So that was actually, again, another game that should have been DLC rather than an actual game. But like, you can actually go to where the ending of Far Cry 5 takes place and see the bodies of the people that were left behind at the end of the game.
Yeah, right.
So like, there's this stunning sort of connection to it. But yeah, I remember finishing that game and just going,
fuck.
wow, that was
Yeah.
like I was empty
Yeah.
after that game, because it was like sitting and watching 10 seasons of a TV show and then it having the most downbeat ending.
Yep.
It was like sitting elsewhere.
Yep. And then knowing it's over, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's
and
how
it's
we're
like,
leaving it. It's done.
And it's like, I can never revisit this again.
Yeah.
Like I can play this again, but I know how it ends. I
Yep.
can't experience this for the first time ever again.
And that's ballsy, isn't it? Really, I think that's a ballsy move to go out on something like that you've poured however many hours into at that point, dozens of hours potentially into something, and then go, no, that's how we're going to leave it. Actually, that's how we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, stunning. Okay, number 4 is the game that was one that Xbox Live offered me for free as part of their like 400 odd games that when you have the gold pass you get.
Yep.
And it's a little game called Firewatch.
Oh, nice, Justin. You're singing my language now. Yes.
It is
singing my language. That's a weird saying.
I like it.
Singing my song,
like it.
Speaking my language. I kind of smushed those two sayings together. Go on.
Fantastic. I'm a first person guy. I like the first person experience in a game. And the interesting thing is that I started playing this game because I just recently bought a board game before that called Fire Tower. And the Fire Tower board game is one where you're not actually playing the fire tower, you're playing the fire, and you spread the fire throughout the land, and your job is to take out other people's fire towers. And that just sort of made me go, oh God, people actually do this as a job.
Yeah.
And then I'm flicking through, and I sort of read a little bit about it and watched a documentary on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I'm flicking through games on Xbox, and it was like, just want to play something different. And there's one called Firewatch, and it's got a picture of a fire tower. And it's like, let's go.
Yep.
Let's give this a go. And I was absorbed by it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you create your character by talking about your backstory of the meeting of the person who becomes your wife, and how the relationship changed, and then she gets sick, and you've decided instead of supporting her, you've gone to work for 3 months in the middle of a forest to stop forest fires.
Yep.
The fact that you don't see another character except from a distance.
It's very isolating, isn't it? Like, but in a weird, because you've got contact via a walkie-talkie, but that is the only contact you have, and you do feel very alone in that game, I think.
I think the other thing is that like there's just some times where it's like, did I actually see that?
Yes. Oh, there's so many moments that sort of like so expertly, without, I don't want to spoil anything, if you haven't played it, and if you haven't, you absolutely should. It's very, very good.
Yeah, 100%.
But that toe the line of like it becoming like a thriller horror, that it never crosses it, but it always there's parts where it steps up to the line of it becoming that kind of psychological horror thriller genre, that are very, very well done, I think.
If they made a movie of this,
It
I
would
be
be
the first person there to go
amazing.
and see it.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know?
I'd love for them to make a movie about this. Do you think it would? Do you think, given that it's, oh yeah, they've done shit like this before with like the Lighthouse and stuff. Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it would work as a movie? But I absolutely do think it would work as a movie.
It would basically, you would have to have a very, very good male lead.
Yeah. Oh, they would have to get Rich Sommer to play the lead. Like, he's the voice in the game, and he does a great job. And I'd want him to be. He has to be in it as the lead, I think.
And the voice on the other end would have to be one of those iconic voices that you go, is that her? Like I'd even go as like Scarlett Johansson just as the voice, just like, because there's even not visually, Scarlett Johansson has I guess a demure sound to her voice where she's attractive the way she speaks as well. So
even keep the voice actress. Her name escapes me at the moment, but the voice actress from the game, just like she does,
and she was amazing.
Oh, incredible! Yeah,
there's that one bit in that game where it's the first time that you're sort of, it's I think like day 2 or day 3, and it's early. I think it's night, and you can actually see her fire tower and just see her silhouette in it.
Yep.
And it's like, you said that feeling of isolation. You feel it so much when you see you've been talking to a person for 2 days, and that's where she is.
Yep. Yep.
She is the to have physical interaction with her is never going to happen.
No, that's right.
It can't happen in that situation.
Yep.
Stunning game.
Incredible game. Go and play it, guys. Nice and condensed experience. It's like 4 hours or so. And it just tells like a really solid, thrilling, like thought-provoking narrative that, depending on where you are in your life, I know when I played it, it certainly, like, without getting all deep and intimate about it, like, it certainly left a mark on me. It was like it very much reflected where I was at in my life at the time, and I think that's why it had such a big effect on me when I played it. But I adore it. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
And beautiful.
And gorgeous. If they had have gone with like the hyper realistic graphics look, it would look like shit right now by now. But because they went there with that like real Pixar kind of look to it, the real Pixar aesthetic,
very flat,
use the lighting beautifully, it still looks good now. It still looks beautiful. And it was in, I think we did our top 10 most beautiful games on the channel, and Firewatch was one of mine, like, of all time, I think. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
great on all fronts.
Well, here we go, number 3.
Top 3.
And I apologize for this in advance. Fortnite.
Oh, dude, come on. I knew you had to have it on there somewhere. Like, I was going to cry foul if you didn't have it on there somewhere.
I love Fortnite.
You love it. You love it.
I don't have 2 strands of DNA. I have 3, and the third one is Fortnite tied up all of my DNA.
You could play that game forever, couldn't you?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That game is free, and if I haven't spent $8,000 on it, I would be very surprised.
Yep.
There was one period where I was buying one of the $100 gift cards every single month.
Wow. Yep.
And like, I've got skins through the arse. I have got solid friends now that I play with regularly. I have a friend that I used to play Call of Duty with, a guy that used to be a customer in my shop, and myself, and the 3 of us play regularly to the point that we're called the Blue Jizz Crew, because like the whole thing of getting the blue shields, it's like, quick, I've got jizz. Who wants to be jizzed on? So we, and then as an extension out of that, other people are playing it. And then when I was playing it in my previous job, when we lived in the city, I got so many people into it that they're all playing it with me now as well.
Yep.
So one of my things that we moved to the country about 4 months ago, and one of my connections back to my city friends is that we play Fortnite together. And it's great. Like, yeah, amazing.
It's much more than, like, for you, it's so much more than like just just the game. Like this is what we were talking about at the start. Like this is a way of maintaining connection
Yeah,
for you,
100%.
isn't it? You know.
This is me going to the pub with my friends.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to. You nailed it. That's what I was trying
This is
to get out, but I
like,
was too dumb. Yeah.
I used to work retail, and I was there 5 days a week, and I made a lot of friendships with customers and stuff like that. Because when you work in a pop culture environment, I was managing a zing. When you work in that environment, you tend to make good friends with a lot of people who have similar interests. Not being there anymore, I'm sort of like cast to the wolves.
Yeah.
So, so it's nice to actually still have that connection with those people. And it's like ex-staff. It's like I said, the people that came with, and even down to the guy that I used to play Call of Duty with, who now plays Fortnite with me. He has a guy he plays Fortnite with, and now he and I are good mates.
Yeah, cool. Yep. Nice.
So he and I will just sort of like casually play together without everybody else. It'll just be like 11 o'clock at night, and it'll be like, I'll get a text, do you want to play?
Yeah.
And we'll just jump on, and just 4 hours later.
Yep.
So
way past
yeah,
our bedtimes.
I think much like Minecraft, I think Fortnite has become so much more, and especially with the Lego thing, and even down with the Guitar Hero style thing, and even with the rocket racing, I think it has so much become, it's a playground now. It's not a game anymore. And when the new Disney thing gets added to it, like, and there's been very little scandal around Fortnite as well, which is what I find. I can think of only one skin that was banned.
Yep. Yep.
And it was because it was a little bit too close to an SS uniform.
Okay. Yep.
And they do the usual thing that people like Otaku and all of the Games Radar and stuff like that do, is that when they sack 1,500 people, it's always like, Epic Games has just sacked all of these people. And it's like, yeah, but they employed those people as well.
Yeah.
And there's, particularly for a gaming company, there seems to be a lack of understanding that devs are hired on contracts, and those contracts will go for 6, 12, 18 months or 2 years or 3 years. And they're made to build a thing. And when that thing finishes, they all go at the same time. They're not necessarily fired. Their contracts are up. So like all of those people that worked on the Lego part of Fortnite, they all would have all worked on it until, okay, you've got it done. We only need like a team of 30 devs to continue to work on it. The rest of you are all gone.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, is that you got to remember is it's a fucking business, and they need to make money.
That's right. And speaking of,
it's a free business.
It's a free game, and you never really again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Battle Pass was that was a Fortnite thing first, or had it come in like in PUBG or something like that beforehand? I can't remember.
I think PUBG and Fortnite would be like that with it.
Fortnite was certainly the one that popularized that business model. And you see, but they've never come across to me as like aggressively monetized, like in the way that some big budget AAA games that are charging you like an $80 price tag, that also have microtransactions, that also have a battle pass, that also have, downloadable skins and whatnot, that also have loot boxes. Like Fortnite somehow has managed to avoid a lot of the controversy in keeping their monetization very focused, very realistic, and not sort of like they could so easily have fallen into that money grubbing quagmire, I think. But you can, like, there's a lot of enjoyment you can have in Fortnite without spending a cent.
Yep, 100%. I didn't spend any money on Fortnite for probably the first year I played it.
Yeah.
The first year I played it, I actually played it with my nephew, who then I think he's 19 or 20 now, and he must have been 13 or 14, maybe 15 when we first played it. And I just got on there so he'd have somebody else to play it with. And the reason that he and I stopped playing it together was because I bought a skin.
Yeah.
And the skin that I bought was, there's an aerobic warrior, and she's got like Farrah Fawcett hair and wears bright pink. And he was like, Uncle Justin, I'm not playing this with you anymore.
You're embarrassing me.
I damaged his flourishing masculinity by having a hot chick. But yeah, so
the money you spent on it is money that you have spent on it because you want to spend. It's not like you're not. I've got to be careful what I say here, because I can't say that it's not like you're not being manipulated, because to some degree, there's always going to be manipulative psychological tactics in these kinds of monetization models. It just is. It's how they work. But what I'm saying is that you've never felt like I have to buy this thing in this game to remain competitive.
No point.
Yeah,
At
at
no
no
point.
point.
And
You're
this-
investing in it out of a desire to invest into a thing that you love.
You look at the skins, like with Call of Duty, that like, because it's very much sometimes with the skins you're actually paying to win.
Yes.
Because you can buy like the boys skins. One of the skins is Black Noir. That thing is pitch black.
Yeah,
And in
right.
shadow, in a
Yeah.
darker, you can't see that thing.
Yep. Yep.
And that person is paying to win. So if they've got a shotgun hiding behind a door, you're not seeing that till the last minute.
Yep.
But with Fortnite, if they do a black skin, if they do something that's like a fully black outfit,
Yeah,
it's
like Batman
so
or
it's
something.
shiny.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's got a red light on the eyes.
Yeah.
It's never done so that it's pay to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
And you know, every time that I've bought something, I've gone, you know, like I like Kylie Minogue, believe it or not. And so when the Padum emote came out, I bought that.
Yep.
But I'm just as happy to use some of the ones that I got for free as well. Like my favorite one at the moment is whenever I kill somebody, I do like a wrestling count.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a toxic Fortnite player, let me tell you. So like,
Not you, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I kill somebody and I'm on the floor going 1, 2, 3, ding ding every single time. Like I'm more than happy because I can see that little eye that they're still watching me, and I want them to see that I'm happy that I killed them. You know, like I'm in my 50s and I'm playing a game that's predominantly played by 14-year-old boys. I want to make those boys cry.
And I think that's fucking awesome, is that like you are not what people would imagine to be the stereotypical Fortnite audience or Fortnite player, right?
Oh, mate, we live in a country town now, and I stick out like dog's balls. Everybody's wearing flannel and jeans, and
you're wearing yeah. But that's what's so cool about it, I think. And that's why, again, I was going to cry foul if you didn't have this on your list somewhere. I was going to pull you up on it, but yeah. I'm glad to see it's on there. Number three,
Fortnite.
Yeah. No, and I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of, man. If it's something that you love, it doesn't matter what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loud and proud, you know, within reason.
just to add to that too.
Jesus, I love Nazis.
The other thing I like about it is that there's no actual communication between the other players.
Yes.
Like if you're playing with your guys, you're only talking to them. There's none of that thing where like when you kill somebody in Call of Duty, you can hear them go, "Oh, you fucking piece of shit." Yeah. There's none of that. It's just like you're just playing a game. So you don't know if you're playing with a bunch of 12-year-old boys or a bunch of bots.
It levels the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite Fortnite streamers is a guy who's in his 50s as well.
Oh, nice.
And his thing is that he goes for the least amount of kills because as far as he's concerned, you only need to have one kill to win a battle royale.
That's true.
So he spends most of the game hiding.
True. That's how I played Fortnite when I played it way back when it released. That was my thing. Well, I don't have to. It's like you don't have to outrun the bear. You know, you've just got to outrun the slowest person.
Yeah. It's the only gun that you need is a small caliber gun because you just have to shoot the person next to his knee and then you're fine.
That's it. All good. That's cool. And if you want to, obviously, and that's become a thing for you now, is your Twitch channel is largely Fortnite based. Like it's blossomed out into this thing of you sharing this passion openly and honestly, and like here I am and I love it, and I don't care if
it engages other stuff I love as well because like at the moment there's a Marvel season, so
that's
like,
true. Yeah,
Emma Frost from the X-Men is one of my favorite characters. I've got an Emma Frost skin. I love. Like behind me up here, you can't see it unfortunately, but I've got like a $1,000 statue of Jean Grey. I've got a Jean Grey skin.
So number three was Fortnite.
Number 3 was Fortnite.
Yep. Which
number 2.
Yeah, which makes me now think, what are your number 2 and 1? Because although Fortnite showed up, it was going to be your number 1, and I just was going to be surprised by the other 9. But no, okay.
No. So I have emotional connections to these next games.
Okay.
So number 2 is Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
I am still playing that game. I've finished it. I've finished, I think, all bar one parts of the DLC. But for 8 years, Marcus and the other people from DedSec have been my best friends.
Yeah, right.
I you could show me a photo from Watch Dogs, and I could probably tell you the name of the street that it is. I have played that game constantly, and
Why?
it resonated with me something chronic.
Okay.
One of the interesting thing is that several years ago I had a job that I absolutely fucking hated. I managed a news agency. I worked for a couple of people who didn't like each other, so it was like being in the world's worst divorce. And I decided that I needed to quit. And Watch Dogs 2 helped me quit.
Okay.
Because I thought to myself, if I could do anything with my life, what would I like to do? And Watch Dogs 2 had all cool tech and stuff like that, and everything was about your mobile phones doing all of that sort of stuff. And I ended up quitting my job there and getting a job at Apple.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And I worked at Apple for a little while, and it was all because of Watch Dogs 2. That and Yes Man, the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Because I'd spent a long time saying no, and I finally decided to say yes, and it changed my life. And there's a lot more of the message to that film than what you can see.
Oh, yeah.
But what Watch Dogs 2, like Sadara and Wrench and all the rest of them, I spent so much time with those characters. I like the idea of GTA 5, but I find sometimes that... So I've never finished the campaign of GTA 5. And the reason is that like I'll play in it for 20 hours and then I'll go, okay, then I better play the next part of the campaign. I'll be like, if you win this, you'll get $10,000 in a shotgun. And it's like, I've got 12 fucking Lamborghinis and $15 billion in the bank, and you're going to give me a shotgun?
Yeah.
You can go fuck yourself. So I never get around to finishing it because I find that the world offers you so much that by the time you're offered the rewards, they're not rewards anymore. They're actually almost like taking a step backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
You
outstrip the campaign.
Yeah,
yeah. By engaging in what GTA has always been very good at is just being like a sandbox for dicking around. Like
and it's fun. Don't get me wrong.
But then when you go back to the campaign, you're right. It does kind of feel like, oh crap, I'm like way beyond. Here now.
Why would I do this other than to further the story?
Yes.
And it's like, you'll get this gun, okay then, and then you beat the mission in 20 seconds because you've got a fucking minigun.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can happen with Watch Dogs, but it's a lot harder because it's not just a shooty game, it's also a puzzler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where it's like, you've got to break into this computer, so you've got to turn all of there's like pipes and moving the pipes to get the right cables to run to activate that thing to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I found the puzzle aspect of it fun. I found the characters engaging. I love the story, and it resonated with me. Not to mention the fact that their headquarters was underneath a board game shop. That was pretty special as well. It's the same thing that Ubisoft always does. Ubisoft are great at doing, even Star Wars Outlaws. You meet the guy who gets you to go on the quest, to get the thing, to bring it back, to give you the thing, to get you to the next bit. It's just all of that. Like, you're just playing Uno. It's literally just You're just putting your next card down after you've faced the next challenge. And I don't have a problem with that. That's the core of video gaming. And the only thing that I'm disappointed with Watch Dogs 2 is that Legion was just not the same. They spent so much time, rather than you playing, like giving you 4 archetypes, they made it so much where it's like, you can build your own thing. Well, I'm not here to play Barbie dolls. I'm here to play a game. And there's some, like, Legion has some nice stuff in it as well. There's a really cool Assassin's Creed mission in there that's a lot of fun, that sort of just leans into it without, like, sort of leans into this world, but without actually sort of saying they take place in the same universe.
Yeah.
But Watch Dogs 2, like the San Francisco environment and everything was just really, really fun. I really, really love that.
That's interesting. Like, so you like, by the sounds of it, you don't mind a bit of a puzzle game if it's not necessarily openly a puzzle game. Would that be a fair statement to say?
100%.
Yeah.
The weird old man thing that I do at the moment. Have you ever heard of Myrtle?
No.
So Myrtle is logic puzzles where you're solving a murder by doing little. So you're solving a murder and you're doing these little puzzles and you work out. So they're kind of logic puzzles, but then there's sort of escape roomy aspects to it as well.
Yeah.
And you buy a book for like $20 and there's 30 or 40 of these things in there, and they're a bit of fun. I like the reason I like board games is because every single board game on the planet is a puzzle.
That's right. Yep. In some way.
They're literally just, and weirdly, hate jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Jigsaw puzzles can go fuck themselves.
Well, because they're not really a puzzle, are they?
Yeah.
Not in any sense of the word, other than that it's in pieces. Like there's no like process of working something out in a jigsaw. You're just like finding bits to put together and hope that they are the right ones. Like
The picture's on the front of the fucking box.
Yeah.
Why do I have to do anything?
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Give it to me in a black box and make me try to work it out. There's a puzzle. That's a jigsaw puzzle.
There you go. I'm curious. Have you ever played any of the Hitman games?
Love them.
Yes, I was going to say, like Hitman, especially the one I played, which was Hitman 2016, where they rebooted the franchise. I'm sitting here going like, Justin would fucking love this game, but the sense of things.
Is that the one that has the beach house as one of the early levels?
The beach house, maybe it's the one that's got the tutorial when you play through the tutorial and it's on a yacht. But it's like a fake yacht that they've set up to teach you how to be an assassin. It's that one. I had a really good time with it, but it was one of those ones where like I thought that game was going to be one thing, and then as I'm getting into it, I'm like, this is a fucking puzzle game. This isn't a third-person shooter or what I thought it was going to be. This is a straight-up puzzle game, just masquerading as something else.
The dark sense of humor as
well. Very
well.
much so.
Oh,
yeah.
There's one piece in it, and I can't remember. It might have been Hitman 3, but you're scaling the side of a cliff building, and you're sort of shuffling along the edge of a ledge. You're sort of hanging and shuffling along the edge of the ledge, and there's a guy standing at the window on the phone, and you can hear him go, "Oh my God, I'm cancer-free. I'm cancer-free. This is fantastic." And the only way you can get in is to grab him and pull him out of the window. And it's like that is so dark. And I feel like dog shit, but like he's working for a bad guy.
That's right. Yep, he's a bad man.
He did this, not me. But there's a lot of dark humor in there, and the costumes are hilarious too. Like,
yeah.
I love that. I don't even mind the movies either.
Yeah, right. I haven't seen the movies. I have not dared to dip my toe in that pool. But the game I played, I enjoyed.
In the history of shit video game movies, it's right up there with Double Dragon.
Yeah, right. Okay, awesome.
Somehow it works. Timothy Oliphant's really good in it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to put it on the to watch list on like the so good it's bad movie. Yeah. Or so bad it's good. So bad it's good movie list sometime.
Yeah, no, you were right the first time. It's so good it's bad. Hey Siri, turn on Cyberdex. How's that?
Hey, it's beautiful. There we go. I can see you. Lovely.
Use my hands to turn things on
like a caveman. What do I look
exactly. Like? This is a children's toy.
All right, number one. Hit us with it.
Number one.
I'm fascinated to know what this is. You've already said Call of Duty. You've already said Fortnite. All right, hang on. Give me some clues. Is it new or old?
It's about 4 years old, 3 years old.
Okay,
maybe?
So I would consider that new, modern. It's a modern game. Only 3 years old for your number one game of all time.
I have spent so much time in this world, it's not even slightly funny. I have played through this game 8 times, and I'm halfway through another play.
Is it a single player game? Single player only? Like campaign game? Okay.
Campaign game.
I don't know. What genre?
It's a... So I guess it's an RPG, but it's a first-person RPG.
Oh, there's not many of those.
No. I guess the only other hint I could give you is to stretch.
What is it?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, of course! Oh! Of course. Oh, I'm an idiot. Of course.
Man, I got this game when it first came out. And I immediately fell in love with the world. Like I was talking about before, I love those games that take place just tomorrow.
Yep.
And I would also replace every part of my body if I could with something
that works.
And so all of that, and like everything that I love about Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, Akira,
yep,
all of that stuff, it is all in there. It is a massive world for it's actually quite a small city, but it's a massive world. It's got amazing acting. It's got a ridiculously stupid sense of humor. The driving's great. And even down to there's even like, they've got driving bits in it, but then there's also a racing section where you can join a racing league. The story's amazing. I thought initially when I heard it was announced, I was like, this is pretty exciting because I love the role playing game. I loved Shadowrun, which was the sort of the D&D version of Cyberpunk.
Oh yes, yep. That's
But it was like
made for you.
Had orcs and goblins and
Yep.
elves and stuff in it, so you could be like an elf hacker. Like when I used to play Shadowrun, I played as an elf who, when she was cracking a safe, it blew up.
Yep.
And it took away all of her flesh from her neck to her navel and her arms. So she had all of that replaced with cybernetic stuff. So she was like a cyborg elf.
Yep.
Who then dressed really slutty because she lost all of her feminine body parts. So she made herself, she dressed like really, really slutty. I was the sluttiest elf ever. I still am, and I haven't played it for years. Even down to like Loot Studios, what are they called? Hero Forge. I've even made a miniature of her in Hero Forge.
Yep.
She's on a motorbike. Cool. She's like an elf with a robot body on a motorbike with an AK-47 doing an Akira style skid.
Nice.
But yeah, Cyberpunk spoke to me like you wouldn't believe, and like the fact that you've got.
I can't believe I didn't guess. There would have been fucking people watching this who were just like screaming at me, "Cyberpunk, you idiot!" Yeah, I can't believe.
Wearing a Rebecca Edge Runner shirt.
Yeah, so I couldn't make it out properly. It looked to me like it was Harley Quinn, and I couldn't quite see. But now that you've mentioned it, it's like, oh yeah, of course you would, imbecile. Like, yeah,
I've got 3 Rebecca statues and 2 other Cyberpunk statues over here.
Yep.
Yeah, massive fan, and like the fact that you can play it with 3 different types of person: somebody who's corpo, somebody who's a street kid, and somebody who's a nomad from out in the wastelands. And then you can play male and female versions of each, or both. Like when you're creating your character, you can do whatever you like. You can make the person with male genitalia, but make them look as female as you like. There's a real mix up of that. So it's like, if you want inclusivity in a video game, there's certainly that sort of thing. But the endings are crazy. And there's even down to, there's a bunch of different endings that you can take place. You can romance different characters. And the romance even depends on, like, if you're a straight male, you can only romance that character. If you're a female character and you choose to make her gay, you can romance that female character. And you don't know you're romancing them until you start to go, oh, hang on, she's coming on to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like you're just being nice, and then all of a sudden it's like,
hang on a second,
she just touched my character's hand.
Yeah.
What's going on here? And next minute you're in a full tilt sex scene, like a Game of Thrones style sex scene. There's some hilarious things that you can do that if you don't take the right steps, you don't get that one thing. Like there's one particular,
which is what's prompted like the 8 playthroughs, I imagine, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one particular character who, if you don't answer in a particular way, you don't get to go down a whole particular route that gives you a weapon that you wouldn't get otherwise. And basically, if you're particularly nice to this person and give her what she wants, and she's a bitch and she's awful, and I sort of felt like when I was first doing it with her that I was being sarcastic. Next minute I meet her at a hotel, there's a massive sex scene, and at the end of it, you wake up in the morning, she's gone, but she's left you behind a weapon. And it's a dildo, and you can beat people to death with the... And it's... Sir John Fallostiff is the name of this weapon. Right?
Yeah.
But even down to, like, there's... The fact of the story is that your character is dying because they've had an engram of somebody else's personality installed in them, and it's slowly taking over your brain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's like you're slowly getting a form of dementia that's going to just get rid of your personality and replace it.
Yep.
And there's all of these different endings that you can pick from and all the rest of it, but there's a non-ending as well. There's a I'm just going to do nothing ending. And the story doesn't finish when the credits run, because whatever you've picked as your ending, the end credits, it's phone calls from every single character you've met responding to how you've decided to end the game.
Oh, right.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And like some of them are angry with you, some of them are upset with you. One of them's bawling her eyes out with particular choices that you make.
Yep.
Stunningly good game. I like I've said, I've played it through 8 times, and I'm doing it again. And the reason I'm doing it again is because I haven't finished Phantom Liberty, and I didn't like the characters from any of my other saves to do Phantom Liberty.
Right. Okay.
There's a particular. There was the first time I played it through. There's like double jump legs. They give you like a jump and then like a Jedi jump.
Yep.
And I didn't have those for Phantom Liberty, and I found that like in the other ones I didn't get those cybernetics, because there's so many different cybernetics you can get that you create a completely different character just by changing one element of the cybernetic stuff that you've got. So at the moment I've got double jump legs and a grenade launcher that's in my wrist.
Nice.
Right. So and the dolliness of it as well, where you can change your fashions and all the rest of it. The fact that you can change the way you look, the vehicles you can get, the submissions. Like there's one submission where it's like it'll give you either a PlayStation trophy or an Xbox one, depending on what you're playing it on, and I have it on both.
Yep.
One of the things is that there's a particular guy who is a car thief, and he gets in contact with you every like a stolen car runner. He gets in contact with you every couple of weeks and it's like, oh, I've got this car. Do you want to buy it? One of the trophies you can get is if you buy every single car that he offers you.
Okay.
It's just so much fun. And I actually the first time that I finished playing it, the first time that I beat it and I picked a particular ending, I sat back and I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah. You play it again.
Like have I is that it? Have I finished gaming? Is that like, do I just sell my Xbox and my PlayStation and everything? Like
how can I possibly top that sort of thing?
Yeah, like that's going to be the, and like I don't like. I'm similar to Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg says that he doesn't like. Oh, we have a beard. Steven Spielberg has said that he doesn't like games that have story, because if he wants a story, he'd go and see a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the same. And one of the things is with these top 10s is the ones that had stories to them were ones where they resonated.
Yes.
And I didn't go, at no point did I go fast forward.
Yes, skip cut. The ones where you're basically just like moving from one cutscene to another. I'm very much the same. Like, don't get me wrong. I like a good story. I like a good story in the game, but I want to play it. I don't want to sit and watch it. And in those games where you are forced to sit and like, you basically like watch a 5-minute cutscene, and then you have 2 minutes of gameplay where you run to the next 5-minute cutscene. I just go on YouTube and I watch those games cut together as a film. I've watched lots and lots of games like that and loved them. Absolutely loved them, but I don't want to play them. I don't enjoy the act of playing them.
I'd love to love Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
But the first 28 minutes of that are so frustrating, of you like crawling around under the bed and all the rest of it. I really want to love that game.
Yeah.
And once you get to it and you're doing the assassination stuff and the creeping around shit, fucking love it.
There are times. Sorry, go on.
I use a Metal Gear Solid skin regularly on Fortnite because I love that game, but I don't like having to get to the game.
Yes, you said what I was about to say. Yep, it's that when I feel like the game is getting in the way of watching the story. Like when I get upset, like, oh, I just want to see the next bit of the story. Now I've got to run over here and fight a couple of guys and then they'll let me see the next. When I'm starting to get into that mentality, that's when I'll just go and watch it. And there's some really high profile, big, like a lot of the like Sony exclusive modern titles, I would rather watch as films on YouTube. I way rather than play it. Like God of War is a good example. I fucking love that as a film. I don't particularly want to play it. Uncharted is another one. Love it to bits as a film. Got it sitting on my shelf behind me over here because I love it that much. Not a fan of it as a game, And that's just me.
Yep. I totally get that. Like I've got a big movie collection and I've got a big video game collection, and never the twain shall meet.
Yes, yeah. There's no crossover.
And that's why those ones that are stories are particularly part of my top 10, because as you can see by like Titanfall 2, the COD franchise stuff, all the rest of it, a lot of that was very instantaneous gratification.
Yes.
Fortnite is instantaneous gratification.
100%.
It's gaming without the fluff. And people say, "Oh, do you like the lore of the lore of Fortnite?" I don't give a fuck. I do not care.
No one's there for that.
And like
even COD,
like,
right? Even Call of Duty have like their campaigns are renowned for telling really good stories, but you're involved in it. You're not just watching it play out and then moving to the next bit and watching it play out. Like you are playing through the story. And I think that's the key difference there.
And that's why with Cyberpunk, Watch Dogs 2, Firewatch, Far Cry 5, like they were all things that the story held me. And I think also that my attention span as well, like the cutscenes are never so long that you're like, fucking hell.
Yeah. I'm basically just watching a film. Yeah.
So if I've got to put my controller down when I'm playing a game, I'm not playing that game anymore.
Yeah. Because at that point you're watching it. You're not playing it. Yeah. So Cyberpunk, obviously a very controversial, contentious game when it came out at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it at launch and play it at launch? And did you love it at launch immediately? Yeah. And do you feel like, did you encounter a lot of the issues that were being thrown around and you just didn't care because you loved the world and the game that much? Or did you not run into them?
I had one case where the colors of one scene were completely reversed.
Okay.
I went into Misty's shop. Misty obviously being one of the characters. I went into Misty's shop. Like I'm talking about these people like their friends. So I was down at Misty's.
I was down at Misty's. You didn't know Misty.
And, I was on my way to see Vic, and I stopped by Misty's place, and Jackie was there, so he was hanging out. And the light coming through was black instead of white.
Right. Okay.
So instead of the faint shade of yellows coming through the window, they were black and greys. So it had this weird. I can't even describe it to you. It's one of those things that I'd have to draw it to show you.
Yeah.
Is that like the light was wrong?
Yeah.
But when you looked out the door, you could see it was light outside, but then the light coming in was black.
Right. Yeah.
So
nothing that you came across that you were like this game is
nothing
broken.
broke the game for me.
No, nothing. And obviously, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Cyberpunk didn't have issues. There's plenty of footage and evidence that it had a lot of problems on launch. But I mean,
continues.
It
continues as well.
Yeah.
Like I ran into a gate in one of the Delamain taxis, and it wedged into the front of my car and sunk into the ground, and so I couldn't move the car. And that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it just dropped through the world, and it still has issues.
Yeah, but the issues that you've encountered pale in compared to the experience that game has given you. Yeah. And that's awesome. That's great.
I feel every single character in that like they're friends.
Yeah.
Like Pan Am Palmer and Judy Alvarez and all the rest of them, they're all like people who I have spent time with and continue to spend time with. They're not characters in something. They're like, I go to Pan Am's world and her and I go and do something together and we hang out together, and I'm interested in the conversation, even down to like when you're driving somewhere. With most games, I'll just sort of go, oh, I don't care what you're saying. Fuck off. Can we just go to the next bit?
Blip, 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 blip. Yep.
I'll listen to Pan Am tell me about like the problem that she was having back at base camp. I'm more than happy to listen to her talk because I feel like, and it's like, I sort of sit there and go, oh, I feel like I should respond to this, but I can't because it's a game. Like extraordinarily weird experience.
That's where your wife's like, who are you talking to, honey?
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, I think at one point Sam was like, oh, you off to play with your girlfriend, Judy Alvarez again. I'm like, what can I say? I'm a lesbian from 2077. Of course I am. Yeah, but it's just fantastic. I love it to death.
That's cool, man. And I know Sam on the channel absolutely adores it as well. For spoilers, if you haven't seen our top 10 most beautiful games of all time list, this was his number 1 of the most beautiful games ever made.
There is so often where I have posted on Instagram reels of just like, I've gotten to the top of a building and I just like look around the building and then just save it because it's a living, breathing world.
Yeah. The city is impressive, for sure.
In height and depth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's the verticality. Like you said, it's not a big world, but it's a dense world.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Even down to funny stuff, like just on the sense of humor things of like Alana Pierce, who used to work for IGN, Chalanazard.
Yes.
She plays a character in it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
If you play as the Nomad, she actually steals your car. And it's really jarring because you'll go all the way out into the middle of the desert to get your car back, and it's like, "G'day, mate. How are you?" And like she's so Australian. And then Then there's another bit that these worlds have been this world's been destroyed and like there's a bit of a commentary of where we're going with trash in the world as well, because like outside of the city there's just piles of bags of garbage. So there's that as well. But like there's a cave in the middle of the desert, and legend has it there used to be a mansion on top of this cave. And when you go into this cave, you find a black car. Super fast. It's the Batmobile.
Yeah.
If you find this cave, you get the Batmobile in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, nice.
They don't say the word Batman. They don't say the word Bruce Wayne.
But
they
we all know.
Story. We all know. We all know
what's going on here.
And once you've got that car, it's like you have the fastest car in the game.
Yeah, cool.
You don't have to do anything to achieve it. It's there. You've just got to find it.
That's cool. And they'd be like dense with those little Easter eggs, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heaps of that sort of stuff. And it's a commentary on where we're going as well. Nice. Which I'm less impressed with. I'd just rather go and hire a cyber prostitute, spend 100 eddies on it.
No, not listening to your message. Oh man. That's cool, man. Number 1, Cyberpunk. Yep. That's really, really cool. Yep. Love it. And obviously very passionate about it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Oh, that's what it's all about.
I bought the board games. Yep. I've got the art of. I've got so much stuff of it. This is one of 3 Cyberpunk t-shirts.
Yep.
The Edge Runners TV show's amazing.
You've had a spoiler for your number 1 game right there in front of us the entire time.
Wore it deliberately.
You cheeky fucker.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting too is that when Edge Runners came out and it was so super popular, they actually added Edge Runners stuff into the game.
Oh, yep.
Because Edge Runners takes place, I think, 30 years before the video game.
Yep.
You can actually go and find a brain dance, which is like a virtual reality helmet that shows you an ad for the TV series.
Oh, cool. Yep.
After you've watched that ad, you then can go and get you go and meet one of the fixers who gives you jobs, and he'll give you David's jacket from the TV show.
Yep.
And it's like, this is like a historical thing. I'm going to give this to you. So there's even elements of that where they
cross over, like, and make it very obvious that, like, no, this is a continuity sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's even 4 songs from the TV series that they then incorporated into it. So you go past some bars and it's like, oh my God, that's Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. Very, very cool. All of the connecting webs that happen there. Unfortunately, the Dark Horse comics are fucking shit.
Oh, really? Oh,
terribly drawn, boring stories.
Yeah.
Like you need someone who's an intricate artist who draws everything, but they just like, we better jump on this while it's still hot.
Yeah, okay. And push them out. Yeah.
No offense to those artists.
Yeah, right. But you're not a fan.
Yeah. Get back in your lane.
They're not getting your Christmas card.
No.
Well, Justin, that was awesome, my friend. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Now, to wrap things up, if people want to come and see more of you, want to track you down, want to watch you like squash some teenagers in Fortnite and whatnot, where can they find all of your stuff? So
twitch.tv/JURM1969.
There you go. Anywhere else?
Game and Tactics on. Yeah, that's probably the best one. But Game and Tactics on Instagram as well.
Nice. There we go, my friend. Once again, as always, any excuse to hang out, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm sure
Thanks for having me.
Everybody will see you and your lovely face here again some point in the very near future.
Can't wait.
Nice. Thanks, Justin.
See ya.